I wrote a sweet post about my husband for our anniversary. Within minutes, his mom posted a collage of her favorite moments with him, captioned, "The original love story." It got more likes. When I joked about it, she said, "A mother's bond always wins the algorithm." I never imagined that a simple anniversary post could unravel the delicate threads of my marriage and family dynamics. It all began on a sunny morning in our cozy home in Portland, Oregon. I had just brewed a fresh pot of coffee and was scrolling through my phone, reminiscing about the past decade with my husband, Mark. Feeling nostalgic, I decided to craft a heartfelt post on Facebook to commemorate our 10-year anniversary. I selected a series of photos, our wedding day, the birth of our daughter Lily, vacations, and candid moments that captured our journey together. I poured my heart into the caption, expressing gratitude for our shared experiences and the love that had grown between us. Within minutes, the post garnered likes and comments from friends and family. I felt a warm glow of satisfaction, believing I had honored our relationship in a meaningful way. However, that warmth quickly dissipated when I saw a notification. Mark's mother, Patricia, had posted a collage of her own. Titled "The Original Love Story," it featured baby photos of Mark, his childhood milestones, and family gatherings from years past. Her caption read, "A mother's bond always wins the algorithm." Her post rapidly accumulated more likes and comments than mine. I felt a pang of hurt and confusion. Was this a competition? I tried to brush it off, telling myself it was just a proud mother sharing memories. Later that evening, during our anniversary dinner, I mentioned it to Mark with a chuckle, hoping to lighten the mood. "Your mom's post is getting more attention than mine," I said, laughing. She said, "A mother's bond always wins the algorithm." Mark looked uncomfortable. "Yeah, she can be a bit much sometimes. Don't take it personally." But I couldn't shake the feeling that Patricia was undermining me. It wasn't the first time she had overshadowed my efforts. At our wedding, she wore a white dress. When Lily was born, she insisted on being called Mama Pat, confusing our daughter. She often made backhanded comments about my parenting and homemaking skills. I decided to confront Patricia, hoping to clear the air. I invited her over for coffee and gently brought up the Facebook post. "Patricia, I noticed your anniversary post. It felt a bit competitive." She sipped her coffee, unbothered. "Oh, dear, it's just social media. People love nostalgia." "I understand, but it felt like you were trying to outshine my post." She smiled. "A mother's bond always wins the algorithm." Her words echoed in my mind, a mantra that seemed to justify her actions. I realized then that Patricia saw our relationship as a rivalry. She wasn't ready to relinquish her role as the primary woman in Mark's life. I needed to set boundaries. I spoke to Mark about my concerns. He was hesitant, torn between his loyalty to his mother and his commitment to me. "She's always been like this," he said. "It's just her way." "But it's affecting our marriage," I replied. "I need you to support me." He agreed to talk to her, but the conversation didn't go well. Patricia accused me of trying to distance her from her son and granddaughter. She played the victim, and Mark found himself caught in the middle. The tension escalated. Patricia began to exclude me from family events, organizing gatherings without informing me. She would post photos of Mark and Lily, captioned with phrases like "my world" and "family is everything," omitting any mention of me. I felt isolated and hurt. I turned to therapy, seeking guidance on how to navigate this complex relationship. My therapist emphasized the importance of setting firm boundaries and communicating openly with Mark. I decided to take control of the narrative. I started a blog, sharing stories of our family life, highlighting the joys and challenges of marriage and motherhood. I used it as a platform to express my perspective, to reclaim my voice. The blog gained a following, resonating with others who faced similar struggles. I received messages of support and solidarity, reminding me that I wasn't alone. Mark began to see the impact of his mother's actions. He noticed how her behavior affected our daughter, who was confused by the conflicting messages. He realized the importance of standing by me. Together, we established clear boundaries with Patricia. We limited her visits and made it clear that undermining our family unit was unacceptable. It wasn't easy. There were tears, arguments, and moments of doubt. But over time, we rebuilt our relationship, stronger and more united. Patricia eventually came to terms with the new dynamics. She still had her moments, but she learned to respect our boundaries. Looking back, I understand that the journey was necessary. It taught me the importance of self-advocacy, communication, and resilience. Love isn't about winning algorithms or social media likes. It's about mutual respect, understanding, and support. So, after the blog started gaining traction, I thought things were finally turning a corner. I wasn't trying to get famous. I just wanted to feel heard. And in some ways, I did. I started connecting with other women who had difficult in-laws. They shared their stories, I shared mine, and for the first time, I felt like I wasn't crazy. But of course, nothing with Patricia is ever that simple. It started with a random DM. An anonymous Instagram account. No profile pic, no followers, no name. Just a short message. You should be careful what you post. You're making people look bad. I laughed it off at first. Honestly, it didn't surprise me. People get weird online. But then it kept happening. New accounts. New messages. Some were worse. If you were a better wife, your husband wouldn't be so quiet these days. No wonder your mother-in-law steps up. You clearly don't. The language was too specific. Too personal. It had to be someone who knew me. I showed Mark. He looked uncomfortable but told me it was probably just trolls. Ignore it, he said. Don't feed into it. But I knew. I knew it was Patricia. Still, I didn't have proof. And Mark wasn't about to accuse his mother over a hunch. So I did something I never thought I'd do. I baited her. I wrote a blog post called "When the Villain Smiles for the Camera." It wasn't cruel. I didn't name anyone. But if you knew the story, if you were the story, it was obvious. I mentioned the white wedding dress, the Mama Pat drama, the Facebook post. All of it. I ended it with a line that said, "Some people want credit for being the perfect family member, but only when there's an audience." The post went viral. Like, for real viral. Way beyond my small circle. It got picked up by a marriage advice page, then reshared on Reddit. Comments flooded in, people saying, "My ML is the same," or "Cut her off, she's toxic." That night, Mark came home pale. "You need to take that post down." What? I asked. Why? She saw it. My mom. She's furious. She called crying. Said she was being bullied. She's not the victim here, Mark. She says people are sending her hate. She's scared to go outside. I stared at him, waiting for him to take my side. He didn't. That night we fought. The kind of fight where you don't yell, you just cut each other apart with silence. That kind of silence hurts more than words. The next week was tense. I didn't delete the post. I didn't even edit it. I started sleeping in the guest room because every conversation with Mark turned into an argument about family and privacy and how this isn't helping anyone. Then the next bomb dropped. Lily came home from a weekend at Patricia's with a new bracelet. One of those rubber kinds with big printed letters. It said, "Grandma's girl." I asked her where she got it, and she said Grandma gave it to her. She said it's because I don't need to pick sides. She said we're best friends forever. My stomach dropped. I knew what Patricia was doing. She was manipulating my daughter, turning her into a pawn, making it seem like there were sides in this family war. I wanted to scream. Instead, I went outside and sat in the car. I cried like I hadn't cried in years. I thought about walking away. I thought about packing my bags, taking Lily, and disappearing. Just starting over somewhere else. But I couldn't. Not yet. Instead, I started documenting everything. Every message, every passive-aggressive post, every weird thing Lily came home saying. I started saving screenshots, keeping a file. I told Mark I was done playing nice. He said, "So what, you're gonna declare war on my mom?" I said, "No. I'm going to protect my daughter. From your mom. From this mess. From you, if I have to." He didn't answer. I slept in the guest room again that night. The bed felt cold, but not as cold as the distance between us. The next morning, Lily asked why Daddy was sad. I said, sometimes grown-ups don't know how to talk about their feelings. And then came the twist I never saw coming. That same morning, I got a message from a woman I didn't know. Her profile looked real. Family photos, a small business link, normal stuff. Her message was short. "Hi. I think your husband is my boyfriend. Can we talk?" That message stopped me cold. I must have stared at it for a full minute before I even blinked. I read it again. "Hi. I think your husband is my boyfriend. Can we talk?" I clicked her profile. She looked normal. Not flashy. Nothing fake or sketchy. Just a woman maybe a few years younger than me. Pretty, but not the kind that screams, "Steal your husband." Photos of her with a golden retriever, a few with her mom, one of her and a guy whose face was blurred out. I didn't respond right away. Instead, I took a screenshot and sent it to Mark with a simple question. "Care to explain?" No answer. Not for 30 minutes. Then an "I'm in a meeting" text. That was a lie. I could literally hear him talking to Lily in the living room. I walked downstairs and saw him sitting on the couch, watching cartoons with our daughter like nothing was happening. I stood in the doorway. "Meeting, huh?" He looked up slowly. "What are you talking about?" I showed him the screenshot. His face drained of color. "I don't know who that is." "No," I said. "You sure?" "Yeah. Maybe it's some scammer trying to start something." But his voice had that edge to it. The one he gets when he's lying and trying to sound not like he's lying. I didn't yell. I didn't make a scene. I just nodded and went upstairs. I messaged the woman back. "Tell me everything." She said his name was Mark with a C. I laughed out loud at that one. That's what he always said when people asked how to spell it. I thought it was charming. Now it just sounded ridiculous. She said they'd been seeing each other for about 4 months. Met on Bumble. He told her he was separated. Said he was living with his daughter while the paperwork got sorted out. She sent me photos. Blurry selfies at a bar. Him at a food truck. A picture of him in a hoodie I gave him for Christmas last year. And then this part nearly made me vomit. A picture of a hand-drawn Valentine's card. From Lily. The one she gave him this past February. The one I saw her make with glitter pens and stickers. The one that said, "To the best daddy in the world." He gave it to her. To this woman. As a joke. Said his roommate's kid made it. I didn't cry. I couldn't. My body just kind of shut down. I thanked her for the info, told her she wasn't to blame. She apologized again and again. She said I didn't know. I promise I didn't know. I believed her. She was just another person who trusted him. I didn't tell Mark what I knew. Not yet. Instead, I started preparing. Quietly. Carefully. I called a lawyer. I made copies of our financials. I found a therapist for Lily. I took the file I'd been keeping on Patricia and added the cheating info to it. Then I told Mark we needed to go to counseling. For the sake of the marriage, I said. He agreed way too quickly. Like someone who knows they're on the edge of getting caught. The therapist, bless her, knew something was up in the first session. Mark kept dodging direct questions. Kept using phrases like "I made some mistakes" without ever saying what those mistakes were. And then something happened that I still can't explain. Patricia showed up at my house. Unannounced. With groceries. Like nothing had happened. I brought Lily her favorite cereal, she said, like we were best friends. I didn't let her in. "I think it's best you leave," I said. She looked offended. "Are you still upset about that silly blog post?" "No," I said. I'm upset about the part where you tried to turn my daughter against me and your son is cheating on me with some woman who thinks I'm his roommate. She blinked. Slowly. Excuse me. You heard me. And then this was the kicker, she smiled. That slow, smug smile like she'd been waiting for this exact moment. I warned you, she said. A mother's bond always wins the algorithm. Then she turned around and walked off my porch like she'd just dropped the mic. I stood there frozen. Because here's the thing, I knew she didn't just mean Facebook. She meant everything. She meant my marriage, my kid, my home. She meant war. And that's when I decided I wasn't going to play defense anymore. I was going to make sure the story ended my way. I didn't sleep that night. After Patricia walked off my porch like she won a game I didn't even agree to play, something inside me snapped. Not the crying kind of snap. Not even the panic kind. Just cold, clear thinking. I'd been surviving. Enduring. Letting people walk over me and call it family. Not anymore. So I made a plan. I called the woman, the one Mark was seeing, and asked her for one last favor. I wanted her to meet me. In person. I didn't want revenge on her. I wanted the truth in front of him. She agreed. I told Mark I had a surprise date night planned. Something to reset. He looked suspicious but said okay. I booked a small room at this restaurant we used for our baby shower. Private, cozy. No drama. I got there early. She got there 5 minutes after me. I gave her a seat facing the entrance. Then I waited for him. Mark showed up 10 minutes late. Of course. He walked in smiling, fake, nervous, I could tell. And then he saw her. His face froze. Hey, Mark with AC, she said, and crossed her arms. His mouth opened. Nothing came out. I looked at him. Sit down. He sat. Slowly, like he was walking into a trap. Because he was. For 20 minutes, I let her talk. I let her read texts. Show photos. Explain things I already knew, but wanted him to hear with no room to lie. He tried to speak twice. I stopped him both times. When she finished, I turned to him and said, I just wanted you to hear it all before the next part. He looked at me like I'd lost my mind. Maybe I had. I opened my purse and slid a manila envelope across the table. Inside were copies of bank statements, texts from the fake accounts Patricia used, and photos of her and Lily wearing matching Grandma's Girl shirts like they were some duo on a sitcom. Also included, the contact information for a family attorney, one who was already expecting my call. I'm done, I said. You can go home to your mommy now. He didn't say a word. He just looked broken. Good. But I wasn't done. I filed for separation that same week. Told him he could keep the house if he wanted. I'd take my name off the deed, but Lily was coming with me. I didn't even fight for spousal support. I had savings. I had my blog, which by now had enough followers to bring in money. But I did one more thing. I wrote one final blog post. I didn't name names. I didn't trash him. I just laid it all out, the fake messages, the emotional manipulation, the cheating, the lies, the power plays. I told the story like a parable, about a woman who learned that family isn't about blood. It's about boundaries. It went viral again. Bigger than anything before. But here's where it gets wild. A few weeks after the post, I got an email from Patricia. The subject line said, "Shame on you." In the message, she called me every name under the sun. Said I'd humiliated her, her son, and their legacy. Said she was going to sue me for defamation. Said I ruined their lives. So I replied with one sentence, a mother's bond always wins the algorithm, right? She never emailed again. Mark moved back in with her. From what I hear, that's going about as well as you'd expect. She posts pictures of him and Lily from visits and crops me out completely. Calls herself a single grandma like it's some heroic title. But I don't care. Because I'm free. And yeah, maybe I should have seen it sooner. Maybe I should have spoken up louder. Maybe I should have set boundaries earlier. But I didn't. I let love blind me. I let tradition silence me. I let fear control me. Not anymore. Now I live with my daughter in a small rental with more peace than that house ever had. I still write. Still go to therapy. And Lily, she's thriving. Happy. Safe. I still believe in love. I still believe in family. But I also believe in walking away when someone shows you who they are over and over and expects you to just smile and take it. So to anyone out there clinging to something broken because it's family, you're not crazy. You're not weak. You're just waiting for your turn to take the story back. Mine starts now.